Welcome back once again to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. Happy holidays to you and yours. Let me just take a sip of this Bing Crosby-sponsored vodka.
Jesus.
Harry, Nathaniel, hurry, boys, with that Minute Maid. Oh, yeah.
Boys, bring it up now, boys.
Don't forget the Stola Chania. I've got a new sponsor I want to tell you about. It's of the local kind, by the way, here in the Los Angeles area. So I'm talking really to anyone who lives in the greater Los Angeles area, or any of you out there who may have plans to visit. Listen up. Fin, F-I-N, is a great introduction to the exciting and tasty dining culture happening in Culver City. This Asian tapas restaurant is cool, chic, and doesn't leave your wallet empty. Plus, if you stroll around back, they have created this mixology lounge in the rear of the building, as it were, called the Alley Lounge. It's reminiscent of a 1920s speakeasy joint, but without the pretentious entering through an old refrigerator or an elephant's ass. There are some great places on the west side to check out. I promise you, Finn is one. We go there all the time. I may or may not have had a birthday gathering there. I can't really talk about it because there's a lot of people who weren't invited. We love the place.
Nice Asian tapas joint.
Yeah. A good old-fashioned neighborhood Asian tapas joint.
Very nice.
So thank you, Finn, for being a fine sponsor of the program. This is our last show of the 2014. It seems like only yesterday that... Jamie, are you excited for the holidays?
I was prepared. You know what? I have a crazy busy week, but it's filled with a lot of fun holiday stuff.
Yes.
So, yes, I'm excited.
Yeah, there's going to be some Santa Clausing and some party going and some festive shows. I would be a complete and utter fool not to mention that we were in a little freeway debacle last evening.
Oh.
On our way to see a very dear friend and Jamie's favorite stand-up comedian, as it turns out, Mr. Dana Carvey, down at the Irvine Improv, behind the orange curtain. And don't you know that we were a party of four in the fabulous Tesla Model S, in the carpool lane, as you do. A little stop and go, a little picked up to 60, back down to stop and go. With four people in the car, it's going to steam up a little bit as we try to stay warm.
Oh.
Looked down to hit that defrost button, and that's all the time I had on my eyes off the road, and that's all she took to go driving directly into strangers. So caused a 3-car pileup in the carpool lane
nice.
at 6:15 p.m. on the southbound 405.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, and don't you know, all the people driving by, I ended up a little bit in the fast lane as well, so 2 lanes were blocked off by flares once the CHP showed up in record time. Everyone was fine. I know you were worried. I should stop the rambling and let you know that everyone was fine. But so many people who drove by with the honking and the flipping of the bird. Really? That's the empathy you're feeling for the poor son of a bitch who's on the side of the road?
Well, also, the middle car that was involved in the accident, it was an Uber car.
It was an Uber driver.
It was an Uber driver. And then these 2 women, the passengers, were obviously on their way to some fancy holiday party, and they were very upset with the inconvenience.
Yeah.
Very, like, they didn't care if they would have rather we be dead.
They did not ask. They were the only people who did not ask, is everyone okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, the front car was fantastic. Super guy. In fact, so great was the front car that he offered to give a lift to the 2 women in the Uber car who were being a little bitchy about their situation. And he probably saved me a little bit more of a headache, because if they were stuck on the highway as long as you guys were, and even more I was, that would have, I'm sure, resulted in a little more pressure from the insurance company to cough up a little more dough.
You know what they said when they got to their party, though?
What did they say?
When the people said, "Why were you so late?"
Why were you late?
They said, "Oh, we got pollocked."
We got pollocked, everybody.
Yeah.
What
can you do?
There's the gift that I'm going to keep giving in the new year. So yeah, a little miscombobulated and that. So I didn't want to not mention it. Our last show of the year, it's been a hell of a year. J-Mac and Josh have done an extraordinary job cutting together a clip reel of the year, looking back on the year that was. Fellas, go ahead and roll that. No? Shit. I probably should have asked for that. like 6 weeks ago.
I fell for it. I thought there was really one coming. I was
Yes,
like, oh, this will
I
be
got
nice.
one person.
Yeah.
Jamie's like, he doesn't tell me anything, so I shouldn't be surprised.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, this is a nice treat.
Yeah.
A boner reel.
I'll tell you what, you've got till January 11th, our next show, in the new year. Fellas, if you wouldn't mind making a little crip reel of 2014 as we look back. But we wish a very happy holiday to all of you. While you're out there doing your holiday shopping, there's a wonderful organization here in the Los Angeles area called 826LA, teaches creative writing to kids who don't have these programs in their own schools, their own public schools. The comedy community is behind this a lot. Our own head writer, Jamie Foxx, actually donates. She volunteers 2, 3, 4 times a week, whenever she can, and is illustrating as these kids learn how to write. They put them into these books each day. They make a book right there on the spot for the kids, and then at the end of the year, or twice a year, annually, or how often are these bigger?
This is a new thing that we did with Warby Parker to raise money for the organization. So this
Right.
this is a new thing.
Big fundraiser, and Jamie's one of the 2 or 3 illustrators in the book that's now in the Library of Congress. So how about that? So check that out, if you would. Super awesome stickman dude. It's been a while.
You can get it at the website is 826la.org.
.org.
And it's probably then there's like a store and it's on there.
Yeah, check it out. Do something good. Make yourself feel better. Speaking of Jamie Foxx, the very first movie she's ever worked on is a documentary called Misery Loves Comedy, and it was just accepted into the Sundance Film Festival.
Nicely done. Look
Yeah.
at there.
Jamie's a script supervisor on the film, and she's batting 1,000.
Script supervisor on the documentary.
On the documentary. Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Well, let me tell you.
It
Okay.
was actually
First
very
I
important.
should probably mention that I directed the film. And I'm going to take credit for the brainstorm and then give Jamie the credit for the talent. So right before we started shooting, it's a series of interviews with wildly famous funny fuckers who, the thesis was, do you have to be miserable to be funny? Hence the name Misery Loves Comedy. And shortly before we started shooting, I thought, I'm going to have 60 to 70 hours of material here that I'm going to have to edit down to a 90-minute film. What I should probably do is have somebody with a genius level of attention to detail listen with a time code to the cameras and make notes all throughout the interview with keywords and whatnots, right up synced up to the time codes, so I could go through and pull up these important, and it saved months and months and months and months of time. And that's what the script supervisor was on this documentary.
See, not so useless.
Now I understand.
It literally saved my ass.
It really sounded like a line before, but
Yeah.
now I understand.
Yeah, no, it sounded originally like, oh, so you got your girl to work on your movie and now you want to make... No, honestly, I don't know if
So that also would have been proper response.
I know, right?
I don't know if documentaries normally have a script supervisor. So yes, our guest today, who's about to be introduced, had every reason and right to question it. But there you have it. So I mentioned it briefly at our last show that there was news coming out, but Sundance hadn't made their official announcement, which they did this last Monday. And so now we're able to talk about it for the very first time. And I'll tell you more about it, but we'll be the first Friday at the Egyptian Theater, which is one of the great theaters there in Park City on Main Street, where Tarantino and Kevin Smith and all these people have their own premieres. So Misery Loves Comedy will premiere there. And Kevin Smith, who's in the film, has agreed to come and participate on the panel, to fly into the Sundance Film Festival just to be supportive of the film, and that's pretty fucking awesome. And I want to thank him for that. Contact us. Contact at kevinpollexchatshow.com. The site is still being worked on. I apologize for not doing my due diligence, but write to us, please. Let us know everything you'd like to let us know. Contact at kevinpollexchatshow.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube. The subscription numbers are growing, I'm told, which is pretty fucking exciting, and I really want to thank everyone. But please tell everybody you've ever met. You don't have to write a review. Just hit the subscribe button, you son of a bitch. And we thank Airwolf as well as being our podcast audio-only network. We have an intern working here, and Natalie Rosen, everybody. I don't know, maybe contractually I wasn't allowed to mention her name. But Kenny, did you have... Is that for you guys? Did Toby get a coffee?
I didn't get one. I had some last.
Oh, he has some already. Yeah. Natalie, if you wouldn't mind bringing my, so I can introduce you to the world at large. Yeah, go ahead.
Look at her balance the straw on that one.
Yeah, that's not bad. There's really,
Jeez.
come right up here.
I mean, this is...
Natalie, don't be afraid. You won't be mic'd.
She's taking a long road.
Yeah, well, she's professional enough not to get in front of any of the cameras. Thank you so much. Just wave hello to everybody on, there you go. That's Natalie Rosen, everyone. The greatest intern of all time. I say that knowing that the previous intern, David Mandel, did a hell of a job, but you know what?
It's like, don't let David hear you say that.
He left us.
What?
He abandoned
I
us.
repeat, he left us.
Oh. He got a paper route? Ooh, sorry. I didn't even do that when you
Good
took a
timing.
sip there.
There's my guest, ladies and Jews. Welcome, Toby Huss, everybody. Toby Huss.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. That's how that happens. Toby, first of all, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy Christmas shopping schedule.
I know, thank you. Yeah, sure.
To join us.
Sure.
You came all the way over from the other side of the Los Angeles
East side
area.
over there. Yeah.
But originally from Marshalltown, Iowa.
Where I had a paper out.
Did you?
I delivered the Des Moines Register and also the Marshalltown Times Republican, which my father referred to as the Marshalltown Times Repulsive.
Repulsive? Bless him for that joke, which has served you well all these years.
Yeah.
But let me ask you about the paper route.
Yeah.
First of all, thanks for calling it paper route and not paper route.
Yeah.
But more importantly, it just dawned on me recently that there is now maybe two generations, not just the newest one, two generations who do not know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah,
that papers were delivered to people's home. And also I was talking to people who were just born and raised in New York, and they're saying, yep, there's no paper routes in New York, Manhattan.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Right.
There's a newsstand on every corner.
It was a Midwest thing, and I remember getting papers, and you'd fold them sometimes before you get them. You have to take off the twine or the wire, cut the wire, put them in your bag, and then deliver them in the morning, early in the morning.
Well, I had to rubber band
5:36
mine.
in the morning. Oh yeah, you rubber banded.
The scars from the rubber banding.
Would you remember your fingers getting black from all the
Sure
ink?
I do.
That's a strange thing.
Yeah.
You
Another
pick up the
thing
paper?
the kids will never know and underappreciate.
The black ink of their fingers as they,
That's right.
in the winter,
Yeah.
they did their little route.
I was born in San Francisco but raised in the suburb of San Jose, and I delivered the San Francisco Chronicle to San Joseans. So although I only had 40 papers to deliver, I probably had to span 17 miles on my bike. Because it wasn't every house. It was like every 20th house that wanted the damn thing.
Mine was about 40 papers, but it was a pretty tight cluster. It would take 30 minutes, I think, something like that. But sometimes you were going through the snow that was up to your chest when you're 10 years old. So
not so much in San Jose. So tell me about how a paper route runs in snow. What?
Sometimes your little 20-minute, half-an-hour route would take an hour and a half, and you come home frozen and awful. And sometimes you'd go home halfway through and get warmed up, and then go back because it was only a couple blocks. You had to go either way. But it was sort of fun. And then you go by the homes like the Wednesday of the following week and collect. And you would knock on somebody's door. Would you like to come in? And you'd come in, and then they would give you some treats to say, would you like a cookie? Old people would give you cookies and feed you, and then they'd give you a check for $12.80 or cash, you know?
Right. And this phrase was commonly heard in any home. Ding dong. Wait. Who is it? The paper boy.
Yeah.
That thing of just, because I was told a good time to collect is during meal hours.
Yeah, go around 6.
Because they're all home. Someone's going to be home with the check or the money.
Yeah.
If you go earlier, you might get someone without money.
Yeah.
So, but that of course meant pissing off and interrupting every dinner.
Oh yeah.
But there was still this mentality of it's the paper boy and a friendliness. Not you've ruined our dinner, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, or a paper boy. The kids would do the call out. One time I was collecting down the street on 2nd Street, I think, in old Marshalltown, and it was weird. Knocked on the door, house I'd been to for years, and knocked at the door. You hear people inside, and nobody was saying, "What is fuck? Shh, what they hiding? This is weird." And you're 10, 11, you don't know what's happening. You knock on the door again, and finally somebody, what? A paperboy, $12.80, and geez, can we get? They were like 30 people inside hiding for a surprise party. I went, okay, so while I was there trying to get the money out of them, the dude whose birthday it was walked up, and there were a few people standing up, and he walked in, and I'm standing there counting out money, giving him change, a dummy, not knowing what's going on, and he walks in, hey, everybody, and you hear, surprise, surprise, Like they tried to all yell surprise, and one came from behind a couch and a
Horrible.
chair
You
behind
ruined
a lamp. I ruined the surprise birthday. But I hope they talk about it as like, oh, you remember the wonderful birthday that dumb little paper boy, instead of cursing him.
Yeah, no.
Oh, that was the fun birthday I had that was
Yeah.
ruined by that little boy. But, oh.
Now, how do you feel about being the third listed on the Google search for famous people from Marshalltown, Iowa? And do you know who the first two are?
Well, Jean Seberg, Gene Seberg.
Yes.
Gene Seberg ran, the folks ran Seberg Jewelry downtown.
Her folks.
Her folks did.
Yeah.
And then the son, Seberg's son, my father, who taught chemistry in the local high school, had the boy in driver's ed one summer to, boy, better slow down. Boy,
Said
tell
to the
that boy to
Seberg
slow
boy.
down. Seberg boy got to slow down. Boy's got to slow down. Doesn't drive right. Got into a big car wreck.
Sure he
I
did.
think he might have died.
What?
I'm not sure. It's a family beset by
So
tragedy.
my thing last night on the freeway, I should feel much better.
Oh, yeah, you could all gone up, yeah. And Mary Beth Hurt, I imagine.
Well, Mary Beth Hurt, I'm going to tell you, you're very happy to know that she's listed fourth behind you.
Oh, Cap Anson.
No, this is a new addition. This is a new addition you're not going to get.
Oh, no, the guy that directed Tron.
Oblivion. And Tron.
Oh, yeah, that guy. What's his
Yeah.
name?
Wait for it. Joseph Kosinski, who Jamie and I briefly
Jew?
met because we happened to visit on the set of Oblivion when they were shooting in New York for a second.
Oh,
Remember we
yeah.
ran into the Mr. Cruz, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, our buddy Tom.
That's right.
So Joseph Kosinski is now listed as the number 2 on the famous people from
I'll
Marshalltown.
take 3. That's pretty good.
I would think so.
Because no one's going to knock Gene Seberg off that throne.
No. And now
Oh.
here's a little stat on the Gene Seberg. Cast 1 month shy of her 18th birthday in Otto Preminger's St. Joan from a much publicized casting call of over 18,000 hopefuls.
Sure.
Just a month before her 18th birthday, that's what her life changed just a little.
Yeah.
It doesn't make him a pedophile, technically. Casting call, searching,
No.
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 St. Jean.
I went
St.
out with an
John.
Italian girl who, when I said, she said, oh, do you know who is it from? Your town? I went, who? She goes, Jean Seberg.
Jean Seberg.
Jean Seberg. Who the fuck? Oh, Gene Seberg. Oh, Gene Seberg. Yeah, she was in the Breathless movie and some other pictures.
Yeah.
But in Italy, she's known as Jean Seberg.
Jean Seberg.
With the Black Panther stuff and in the trunk. Ooh,
Oh, right?
that's how she ended up. She had
Keep talking. If it's
She
news, it's okay to
had,
talk about.
it's old news. She had what they like to call back in the day a mixed race baby.
Uh-huh.
And that gets a laugh? Yeah, mother.
It might have been this.
Oh, okay. But she was mixed up with the Black Panthers, we hear, and then they find her in the trunk of a car in France.
Ah,
Oh, it's a whole thing.
that's how,
Yeah.
Oh.
Rough stuff.
Yeah.
Rough stuff.
The CHP did not ask to look inside my trunk last night. I was also surprised that they didn't ask if I'd been drinking.
Yeah.
Never even asked.
Really?
Nope.
So did they know who you were when they pulled you? They went, hey, that's the funny
They
man.
didn't say hey, but I saw that look in the
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
And then they said a few other things that made it crystal clear that I was in good hands because they recognized me.
The look that I get in the eyes of people, they'll like if I'm walking somewhere, they'll do that one, and they don't know where they know me from. They might have seen. They'll do it again. They'll go to their friend.
Yeah.
They come back and they go, do you know Karen and Steve and those guys? No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know
I love when
Karen.
people snap their fingers in my face.
Ah.
That's the greatest thing in the world.
Hey, buddy.
Doing that, yeah.
Yeah.
Joel Murray was here last
Oh.
week, and
He's a lovely man.
we love character actors. We collect them like baseball cards.
Sure.
Jamie turned me on to your skill very early on in our relationship when she sat me down and I'm going to say forced me to watch a show that might not have been
Nice.
designed for a 46-year-old man. Maybe I'm wrong about
It
that.
wasn't designed for children though either. It was like this weird, like it was on Nickelodeon,
Yeah.
but it wasn't for kids. Like it had a very, very adult humor.
That
Pete
was-
and
yeah.
The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Yeah, that was a good little show.
That was a really good show.
Yeah.
And,
My favorite episode is when you fight the bowling ball and it beats you. You
Yeah.
get defeated by a bowling
Yeah.
ball. And William Hickey's in that episode.
Yeah.
The great
William
William Hickey.
Yeah, can you?
he was a bit.
Yeah, he was good.
Afanado.
I think it's Iggy Pop was. I don't know if he was in that one, but Iggy played like a neighbor in a cardigan sweater, and Michael Stipe was in him, and Kate Pearson.
Buscemi,
and
there were
Buscemi's in
several
him,
people.
Garofalo did one, and
Yeah.
a bunch of folks in there. It was a
Yeah,
good.
Michael Stipe was an ice cream man.
Yeah, he does the swirly bar things with his hands.
It was an incredibly hip show.
Yeah.
And then we actually got to work together not too long ago for the Garfunkel and Oates.
Yeah.
We had ourselves a time. But before that, I started watching you on the first season, the first and only season thus far, of the Halt and Catch Fire, which is the first thing I'd like to talk about instead of, we like to jump around here, so I don't want to.
Let's jump.
I don't want to go in chronological order. It's an AMC show. They were advertising it during the first half of the last season of Mad Men.
Yeah.
So I assumed, this is going to be great, but also everyone's going to be talking about this show. It's going to be on everybody's lips soon. And I started watching it and started hearing no one talking about it.
I know, that's
And
the
I
craziest
started
thing, yeah.
I started wondering what the hell had happened, and I realized, they were only, or it seemed to me, marketing it if you watched Mad Men, and if Mad Men gets 1 million viewers a show, they're kicking ass.
Yeah.
So that's pretty limited. I mean, I assume there are other ways that they marketed it, but I didn't, because I remember seeing the trailers for it on Mad Men, and I wasn't thinking anything other than this looks like a wildly interesting show. So I thought anybody else with a brain who saw this marketing is going to go, I want to see what the fuck this is. And also I want to see what AMC is doing after Breaking Bad and Mad Men.
Yeah.
They've got to have another hit in the barrel, in the chamber.
Yeah.
If this is it, I'm in.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. They had got their street cred, all the street cred they needed
Yeah.
from me as a viewer. So before we get to why the fuck does nobody know about this show, or not enough people, let's just talk about the genesis. So your agent calls, there's a script, walk me through it.
Yeah, they said that there's an audition for this thing, and I read it, and I really liked the character. The character was great, and I went and auditioned, and I think they didn't really know exactly what I was doing.
What does that mean?
It means I saw the character as something totally different than they saw it, but I started doing it in the way that I liked it because I really liked the guy, and then when. And then we went in. I was clearly the other choice. When you see the other, you see the other guys in the room, you go, well, that guy's he's the 58-year-old, he's the old Texas guy, old crotchety dude. And there's the guy next to him, and he's the handsome version of that, a couple of years younger, but he's got the suit on, the thing. And then there's me, and you go, how are those guys? No, those are the guys. You're going that way, we know that. So what the fuck? So I just went in and said, well, I can only do whatever the thing it is. Whatever it is I do, I did it, and then I got the role, and it was great. And I talked to them afterwards, and they sort of reinforced it. They said, yeah, you were doing the other thing. And but it was fortunate enough that there were the guy, Chris Cantwell and Chris Rogers, who wrote the pilot episode and developed it, and Jonathan Lisco's now the head writer, but those guys are sort of the three guys that do it. But I don't think Lisco was part of that initial process. But it was these two guys then sort of responded to it by saying, yeah, you were doing something that we didn't really see with it, and they wanted to see what that was.
And so, where had they come from?
Nowhere. They really hadn't done much. I think Cantwell had written on some stuff, but I think Chris Rogers hadn't written much, but they wrote a really great pilot, a really smart and interesting
about a moment
thing.
in time, quite frankly, that we didn't know much about.
Yeah.
And
in '83 in Dallas, Texas, where they had a lot of entrepreneurial sort of high-tech stuff going on. It was called the Silicon Prairie. And Cantwell's father was, I don't know if he's an IBM guy or something, but he was a salesman for software companies. And when he was a kid, Chris sort of heard these stories and saw his dad going through this shit. And we met his father, who's still in sales and doing. I think he's a great guy. And but it was that little world. It was a really weird, specific world. And I remember I graduated high school in '83. For Christ's sake, I'm like the old guy on the set, which is not that old, but when you act with the children, But it was, and I guess Lee Pace is not a child anymore, I guess.
Not exactly, but I know what you're saying. It's a youthful cast.
Yeah, but it's not, but it's still nice. But I remember the music that was going on in '83 and talking to Mackenzie Davis about, well, this was, there was the Lurkers and the Skids and the Damned and, the punk guys, and I'd listen to, and those probably you'd be listening, your character would be listening to. And, but she had her own world figured out already, and it was nice to sort of see these people investigate this weird time that I knew. '83, you know. You remember '83. You
Well,
were around. I was there. We
I'm
sort
older
of knew
than you,
that and
so
lived
I
there.
remember it well, but I don't remember hearing there's all this stuff going on in Texas.
No, I didn't hear anything about
other than
that.
Texas Instruments.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, growing up in the Bay Area, it was all about
Oh, yeah,
the,
that's
the
right.
birth of Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
For anyone in my
It was
neighborhood.
Ross Perot's company, I forget, TDI or something like that, was his company that was down there that was pretty big at the time, too.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of,
But the competition for the next great
yeah,
PC,
yeah.
the home unit really was what it seemed to be the birth of the sexy, sleek, cool home. It was before the Macintosh
Yeah.
Tower was out, which would be '84.
Yeah. Yeah, the Super Bowl of '84 was when that iconic ad came out and she
And that's
throws
when
the
I-
hammer through the thing.
That's when I personally got on the Appleton and have not strayed.
Nice.
Yeah. But I don't think we knew this world was going on. So,
No.
so right away I was captivated by the first episode, the next episode, the next episode. But I'm curious about, so they did a pilot or they had an order for episodes?
We did a pilot, and the pilot got picked up, and
Right.
they said they gave us
And
10.
walk me through the pilot a little bit, because I do like the origins of things very, very much.
Yeah.
You're meeting the other cast people. You know Lee Pace from...
I don't really know
No?
anybody, really. I know Lee Pace from, you know, little things here and there, but I remember he was in that Pushing Daisy show or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know him, and
That's
I don't...
kind of what put him on the map for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh,
And there's Scoot McNairy's in it.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about how much shit did you want to give or ultimately give to anyone named Scoot McNairy?
You start off wanting to give him shit because he really deserves a lot of the shit
Right.
Scoot does.
Uh-huh.
Because he's just that kind of a guy, not because he's named Scoot.
No.
But then you go, he's a good man. You can't
Yeah.
give him too much shit. And then you lay off, and then him and his wife just had a baby, so now he's a dad with a little kid. You can't give. He's
lost your opportunity.
Oh, it's awful. I
Yeah.
mean, if we would have started the show 6 months earlier, it'd been
Sure.
nothing but shit.
That's right.
You know.
I saw him, he was a standout in the Ben Hufleck motion picture, the Oscar-winning,
Sure.
and he was one of the hostages. as
Yeah,
it were.
him and Carrie Bechet,
Carrie Bechet.
who's in. They played husband and wife in that. They're playing husband and wife in this show
Yeah.
too.
And I did a movie with Carrie,
Oh, what was that?
Jerry Lewis, coming out of
Oh,
retirement.
you were in that thing. I never saw that.
Max Rose, I play his son. She plays my daughter, technically.
She went to Paris to do this, and I said, look, just get on a mic and say, just be, and when they ask you something, just say, the baby that I'm carrying is not Jerry Lewis's. Just make a huge point of saying to all of France, this is not Jerry's baby. And she wouldn't do it.
No, she wouldn't. She lost an opportunity. But she's adorable and a darling and a great talent.
Sure.
And I remember when we were working on the movie Max Rose, she said, well, I've just done this show. It hasn't come out yet.
Right.
And so the shooting of the pilot,
Yeah.
what sense are you getting? And how are you in shooting pilots? I tend to force myself to not get emotionally connected to anyone because it is a pilot, and I can't set myself up for disappointment.
Right.
I refuse. That's who I
Yeah,
am.
man. Once you've done it more than once, you just have to go, hey, having a great time now.
That's right.
And then
All we have is this.
I'll see you guys.
Yeah.
And good luck.
Let's make this amazing.
Yeah, let's try to do that.
Let's be unbelievably proud of whatever the hell it is we're doing.
That's all you can do, but also it's a strange thing because it's a dramatic role, and I usually do goofy comedy shit. Like you yourself go back and forth between those two too, so it's strange too. Then I'm in a little bit of a different world than I'm used to. 'Cause
I
don't
love
do-
seeing you in this world, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
No,
yeah.
honestly.
I don't do as much dramatic stuff as
I love it
comedy
when
stuff.
crazy, funny, silly guys get to do very serious stuff because I know it's in us.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
someone would just fucking let us.
I
So when
know.
they do let you,
I know, it's nice.
love
I know, it's real fun.
Yeah.
But so you're in a little bit of a different territory. So I really sort of hold it together. The first pilot, and if there's a couple of you got to hold your stuff together. Go now. Wait, these guys are. I'm not the actor. These guys are. These are good actors, and I'm just a fucking goofball who lucked into a nice role. So what? How do I gotta get my shit together here. I think, and you know.
Yeah. And now is Lee Pace starting to blow up? Like, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, and isn't he in?
And this little movie called The Hobbit.
Yeah, a little thing called The
Oh,
Hobbit.
series
Was it-
called The Hobbit.
Is the new? So has he been in several Hobbit movies?
I think he's been in a bunch of them. You know.
All of them? Not Lord of the Rings, but The Hobbits. This is the third Hobbit that's
You know,
about to
I haven't
come out.
seen one of these Hobbit
Well, this
movies,
is my
the Lord
thing
of the
too,
Rings
so I didn't
movies.
know him from that either.
Right.
I saw the first Hobbit movie, and I didn't really remember
I think
him
Lee
from
Pace
that.
has had a weird career.
Yeah.
You know, he's a really talented guy, and he's
Extraordinarily talented.
Sure, yeah.
My first question was, I couldn't even discern if he was American.
That is the craziest thing. He's a goddamn Okie.
Wow.
Everybody thinks he's British.
Well,
Isn't that interesting?
if they know him from the Hobbit stuff,
Yeah.
they think he's British.
Yeah, sure.
But he had such a slightly unusual cadence
Yeah.
on Halt and Catch Fire
He's a really interesting dude.
that I thought, is this a Brit trying to speak
I know, right?
American? Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
And no, it's an Okie trying not to sound like an Okie.
Or I think there might have been some school in England there at some point. I know he was in the Middle East. I think his dad was an Enron guy, maybe. And
Okay.
he had some Middle Eastern school, so maybe there was some Berlitz speaking, British
There was
speaking
something going
teachers
on.
or something.
Is he out here or is he back east as a...
He's back east. He's got a place in New York, I think. He's a wonderful hybrid of many things.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's extraordinary talent, though.
Yeah, sure. He's great.
Everyone in the cast is rock solid. It's really,
so.
really
It's
a great show.
And they're smart folk too, and it's nice. And this is the only I've never done this before on a series, but we all get together. You know, we got together at Lee's house every Sunday, and we'd read the new script, and we'd hang out, we'd make dinner, just the five of us, and we'd
that's unheard of.
talk. And I've never done that before, and it was great.
Yeah.
You know, and we'd take hours to read through the new script and say, well, now why are you yelling at me? Because and then it would go on and on. It was great fun.
You've already shot the second season?
No, we're going January. I'm driving out in January to Atlanta.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So we start, I think, end of the first week in January, I think, or second week, something like that. So fun.
And when will the show be back on?
I think this summer they're going to stick it back on again. So hopefully, we got pretty lousy ratings, I think. They weren't too impressive, but then...
They should look in the mirror, point the fingers at themselves, and tell you the marketing stunk.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
How does everyone not know about it? There's only one answer.
I know, it's a strange thing because we all love the show and we're really proud of
Reviews
it.
must have been good. I didn't look for them. I don't care for reviews.
Well, I think the one knock that I have with the show is I think it asked a lot of an audience because it was not dealing with super friendly, happy, people succeeding in America. It was some darker,
it's also
impulsed people, and
a
there's
period of time that we don't really know much about.
Yeah.
So you're learning while you're watching.
And there's some technical stuff in it with this and that, but if you take the time to actively get into it, I think the payoff is much greater than
For sure.
The giant
But
sword
also
play.
with the stuff we don't know about, I like that the show didn't stop to hold your hand and walk you through the forest.
Yeah.
It was more like, keep up.
Yeah.
Keep up, kid.
Come on, asshole, we're going over here. You still in?
I love that
Great.
about TV. I felt that way about Mad Men. I felt that way about Breaking
Yeah,
Bad.
sure.
We're not stopping to with the exposition, people.
Yeah.
You just got to fucking keep up.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not going to re-explain who the fuck everybody is.
yeah, no, I like that too.
Oh, I like that a lot.
And it's the same producers as Breaking Bad. Was the
Mark
Bernstein and
Johnson?
Mark Johnson, yeah.
Mark Johnson,
So
I know
they're producing this
from
thing.
the Barry Levinson picture Avalon. I like the Mark
He's
Johnson
produced
very
everything.
much.
He
Yeah.
produced Diner way back in 1,000 years ago.
He was
He's
Barry
a good
Levinson's
dude.
guy.
Oh, yeah.
I can't go any further without bringing this to your attention.
Uh-oh.
Our own head writer, once again, it's really too much about Jamie today, and she hates attention.
Oh,
She's been on a multi-award-winning trivia team, pub trivia team, for 3 or 4 years now.
oh goodness.
I'm going to say 3.
2.5.
All right. Tonight, a very special edition. It's usually pub trivia covering
Everything.
everything.
Right.
And tonight,
They do some themed ones. I participated in the Simpsons only one because
Right.
but tonight is Seinfeld.
Oh, there you go.
Excited.
See?
so we're going to have to talk a little bit about The Wiz,
Yeah, that's
Because
okay.
nobody beats them.
because nobody beats it.
True. Funny, we were talking about Jake Johansson earlier.
Yeah.
When I auditioned for that Seinfeld episode, I saw Jake there, who's a fellow Iowan. And I knew him through friends, old Iowa buddies of mine, Higgins boys. And
Yeah.
saw Jake, we talked a little bit, and he'd just come out of the audition. Hey, we were auditioning for the same roles. How did it go? He said, oh, it was great. Had a good time. I don't know. Hey, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd done a pilot. No, it'd be later I would have done a pilot with him. Alec Berg and Jeff Schaefer wrote a pilot a couple years later after Seinfeld that Jake was the star of that didn't go.
I
But it was
remember that.
Great. Mandel was part of it too. So Jake comes out of the thing and he goes, well, I was pretty good. I don't know. And I go in and there was one part where he has to sort of do a dance, and I did a stupid dance. And then I saw Jake before we shot it, I think. No, it had to have been after we shot it, but you know, maybe a couple months after we shot it. And I didn't go up and go, oh, hey, I got the role. He said, hey, how's it going? I said, oh, good, how are you? And he goes, yeah, I didn't get that role. Yeah, there's always, you know, some guy fucking goes in and does a stupid dance and gets the role. And I went, oh yeah, those guys with their bullshit dances, poor fucker. Oh, and I think it was the last year, it was the last season it was on.
Seinfeld.
Yeah, and so I went in and did a stupid dance, and they said, come on along.
But it's one of there's probably 24 guest star roles that are talked about ad nauseum, and nobody beats them. The Wiz has to be
No,
one.
it was one of the more prominent guest star roles.
It was
like
fun.
a lot of, like also people always forget that Patrick Warburton, David Putty, was only in like 6 episodes.
That is
Such a
God, he seems like he was in
but he
3
wasn't.
seasons of that shit.
No,
Really?
he was only in
Isn't that
6,
something?
maybe 8 at the most. But
Yeah.
it's not a lot. But he's just such a memorable character.
Bryan Cranston, of course, played.
Yeah, the
Tim,
dentist
Tim
guy.
Watley,
Yeah.
the anti-dentite.
Right.
Became Jewish
That's
for
right.
the jokes.
And I was Julia Louis-Dreyfus' boyfriend in that, and then in the movie Enough Said, I played her ex-husband,
Well,
Full circle.
Nicole Holofcener. Yeah.
I did want to transition into that. But first, Jamie's been studying for tonight's competition,
Right.
With round-the-clock viewings of every season.
Why? I just quizzed myself again by making a list of all the fake Seinfeld movies I can name off the top of my head.
Remember they would go to the movies and they had on the marquee.
yeah.
They
Jesus, you know those off the top of your head?
Larry
I knew all but 4 of them.
prided
tried to
himself
pick
was that his thing?
on coming up with ridiculous movie titles like
Checkmate, Chow Fun, Chunnel, Blimp, Death Blow, The Pain and the Yearning, Ponce de Leon, The Flaming Globes of Sigmund, Blame It on the Rain, Prognosis Negative, Other Side of Darkness, Mountain High, Agent Zero, Brown Eyed Girl, Sack Lunch, Rochelle, and these are the 4 I couldn't remember. Cupid's Rival, Firestorm, The Muted Heart, and Cold Fusion.
I like sack lunch.
Sack Lunch. Don't you want to know how they got in that sack?
Sack lunch. Nice.
That must have been crazy fun. And,
That was one of those things. There was one line. That was one really interesting thing. They were all really great on it. Everybody was really wonderful on it. And there was one scene we were doing. I don't know if I got cut or was still in or something. I think I just had to stand up from the table and go, "Okay, see ya." And I stood up and I said, "Okay, see ya." And I walked away. And Jerry was watching it. He went, "I don't. Hold on. I think something's there. I think there's something there." I went, "What?" He said, I think there's a laugh in there. I think maybe if it's like, okay, see you or something. I went, "Oh, okay." And I tried it and I got a laugh, you know. I went, how the fuck? There was nothing there.
Yeah,
but he went, "No, I think there's something there."
Yeah.
It was just working with it's like a
thoroughbred.
She's working with an old master, yeah. I went, "No, I think there's a punch there. You should throw a little." No, there's no room for a punch. Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a beat the joke environment, the live in front of an audience sitcom shoot that creates a higher level of comic timing and thinking. I say that because the very first time I worked with Matthew Perry, he had just come off 9 years on Friends.
Jesus.
9 years of beat the joke, 22 weeks a year.
Sure.
So that every time a fan of the whole 9 yards comes up to me and quotes a line from the movie, I mean every time, it's a line that Matthew threw to me on take 3.
Wow.
Ridiculously.
Wow, that's crazy.
To the point where I've worked with Steve Martin, and I've listed all these ridiculously funny people, and this is the guy who's given me the best
Isn't
lines
that
ever.
interesting?
And and I asked him point blank, what the fuck? Why are you a master?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're talented and funny, but this is a different. And he said, it's that fucking show. You just get into this mentality where you're looking for every single moment during the week of rehearsal. It's not that you get tired of the jokes by the end of the week, it's that you see opportunities.
Yeah, and you know how to construct them. Martin Short had a talk show, and I wrote for that. I was one of the guys that wrote on that. We wrote and performed on it.
I
For like
appeared on
6
that
months
talk
or something.
show
Oh, really?
as a guest.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I remember this. You know Blaine Capatch, the comedian guy. So Blaine was one of the writers on it. And I'm not a joke guy who just wakes up in the morning. I've never done stand-up. I'm not a stand-up guy. So I don't, as part of my walking around day, I don't really come up with jokes. It's just not my thing. But Blaine is a dude who would just come up with jokes, and Maria Bamford wrote on it, and John Matta, and Jerry Minor was here, and Kevin McDonald and I got fired the same day. It was wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, and Kevin's not a guy, Kevin's a funny guy, super funny guy, but not a guy who comes up with jokey jokes But Blaine comes up with jokes, so if you hang out with Blaine in that environment, then I was in my regular life started to be a guy who came up with jokes. And it's weird, and I'm not saying they were good jokes, but I would think in the rhythm of a joke, and I'd get into that head, and I'd go to work in the morning, we'd get there, and it'd be, hey, how's it going? Jokety joke! And I'd walk into my room, and I'd have a cup of coffee, I'd walk out to go to the John, hey, Toby, jokety joke! And I go, what the fuck? Yeah. Now I'm a joke guy?
Yeah.
It's weird, but you get into that head, so I imagine after 9 years, you know, how many hundreds of hours that boy did that his head just started working in that rhythm.
Yeah,
it's
and
really
if you
an
care
interesting
about
thing.
comedy musical rhythms, which he has been a student of, then you get even better at it.
Yeah, I did construction for years in New York, and you know when you're doing drywall, there's a certain, this is a little bit simpler, it's weird.
Was this the Jamaican construction crew that you worked for?
I did. We worked with some Jamaican tapers.
Okay.
These guys who would come in with stilts and they would tape the drywall. They were crazy motherfuckers, those guys. And they would also, and that's a little technical thing, but they would cut their own plaster knives.
Did they?
Yes. When they were making decorative molding that had been lost due to construction or some other hazard, they would make the knife. So they would put the plaster on wet, and they would make the funky little knives. They go vrunk instead of buying a quarter-round piece of molding and gluing it to this one, another thing. It's a long story.
Sure it is.
But there's a group. Yeah, it's a long, very perfect story for the comedy podcast. Yeah. So anyway, when I'm working with it, should 5/8 round. Yeah. But no, there's a groove you can get into where it's you're not really thinking very much about it. And I think when you start getting into that comedy head, I don't think that. It's a strange case of like watching Blaine Capatch's brain work super fast, but then super slow at the same time. So he's working fast, but he's not really thinking about it in a way. This stuff is just coming out because he's in that thing. So you're in that little groove in the same way that if you're looking at, you know, the next 3 weeks just putting up drywall and screwing in screws, you go to a bit of a different meditative place in your head, you know? Yeah. And so maybe being really funny is like putting up drywall?
We'll be right back, right after this, brought to you today by Drywall. This movie you mentioned with Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Is this also the Gandolfini?
Yeah, that was one of his last pictures.
You're right.
Yeah.
And did you have stuff with him as well?
No, I didn't.
Just you
I
and
didn't
Julia?
have anything with him, but I'd met him after that. A friend of mine was writing an HBO movie that he was going to do, so we went over to his place and we all read it together, and it was really sweet.
Well, let's talk about Julia.
Sure.
She's an unstoppable force.
Yeah,
talent,
that's
unfair
pretty...
to the others.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, I am going to insist on suggesting, if not demanding, that her work on Veep is actually the best she's ever done.
She's pretty great.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, for anyone who's annoyed, they're giving this girl another fucking Emmy. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Watch that show. Watch that performance.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the character that I prefer the character because that's my sense of humor more so than the character of Elaine or some of the other ones, Christina, she's done. But the writing on the show is good, but the improvisation that takes place clearly is what makes everyone a master on that show. So I'm curious what she's like on a film set because it's not her milieu of expertise, although these many years of unfair success.
Yeah.
Amount of. So how did you find her to be as an actress on a film set?
She's really great.
Yeah.
She's really
In what way?
In the way that she's completely committed to the thing that she's doing, and also she's really generous. And there's one scene we have to say goodbye to our daughter who's going up the escalators. It gets me choked up just thinking about it because I have a daughter around that age now. And she's got a couple kids and around that. So we were kind of bawling through this scene. It was terrible. We weren't trying to do a thing, but we were right there together. We were keeping it calm. And she's really smart.
Dialed in.
And she's dialed in, and she's careful. And she cares about what you're doing. And there's not a lot of actors you work with that really give a shit about what you're doing. They're
Very
doing
few.
their thing, so good luck. You know, stay with it. No, I hear your line, because my line comes after it. I know that. And she doesn't do that.
Right.
I think she really actually cares,
Yeah.
not just about the project as a whole, but I think about the person that she's working with, and then the scene that they're doing at that time. And that's kind of rare. I think, you know, it seems like a simple thing. It seems like an actor should really be doing that with everything they do, but I don't think most actors do that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So she's a different kind of a beast, I think, like that. And then it's, you know, she's, I think she never does too much. I think that's hard to do too. It's like knowing when to stop and
All I can do is not too much.
Yeah.
By the way, so I really love it when someone also chooses that route.
Yeah, she doesn't, because doing too much, and like she never, even though she would get huge in Seinfeld, or she was never too much. If you watch those performances, she never went too far. Maybe they edited out all her crap. I don't think so, but she never went too far, didn't do too much, and in this picture, she doesn't do too much either.
Well, it's interesting about
Which is more dangerous, I think, than
Yes.
doing too much. I mean, you know, just stopping right at the edge and going, I'm not going past that.
Yeah,
It's
no.
scarier.
Well, yeah. I was doing less because I was not formally trained as an actor, and I wanted to be. The only thing I seemed to be able to gravitate towards naturally was just being real,
Yeah, yeah.
which is what people seem to be going to school to learn how to do, was to just be real and relax in front of the camera and
Yeah.
not look like a person trying to accomplish something. And then I worked with a historically brilliant character actor in J.T. Walsh, who pointed out to me, this is an actual acting technique, what you're doing. It's called less is more.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, there's a second half to it. Less is more, nothing is best.
Really? Is that
You can
right?
actually do nothing
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
scene and draw attention,
Yeah.
you win.
Yeah.
And then last night I'm watching Jack Nicholson in The Shining. And I'm thinking, what's happening here? He's making William Shatner look like a statue.
Yeah, dig that.
Now
dig that, yeah.
Now, we're
Yeah.
talking about Kubrick. We're talking
Yeah.
about an insane person
Sure.
in the character. Kubrick, potentially nuts, but also insisted on doing as many as
2,000 takes, yeah.
70 takes on every single setup, which will make an actor crazy. And if that genius is saying, I need you to go out there, I need you to go further out there, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, then of course Jack's going to trust him. But there isn't more than 9 subtle seconds in the entire 3-hour film.
Yeah.
It's redunculous.
Yeah.
Right. So, and you know, well, he's had one of the all-time greatest careers ever, and it isn't
Sure.
always swinging for the fences.
It is really interesting, though. But I don't know if it's just because of him personally or because of the way his face looks, but he can get away with being pretty big, and
Yeah.
you don't go, woof, Jesus, dial it down, Nicholson. No, if he keeps it tiny, you go, the fuck is wrong with him? Why is he phoning it in this picture?
Yeah.
It's strange. If Clint Eastwood does what Jack Nicholson does, you go, holy sweet Jesus! What the fuck is he having? He's having an attack.
Is he talking to
Some
a
sort
chair?
of palsy
Yeah.
thing? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know. I did this picture, Bedazzled, the remake of that thing with Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley's in it, but Harold Ramis directed. Who's?
We want to talk about Harold Ramis because
Loveliest man in the
you're
world.
looking at his #1 fan of the
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I had to play a gay guy in this one scene and little page boy haircut, and I was doing it really, really big.
Swishy?
And I was going, oh, it's just, and when I look back on it, I go, ugh, it's awful. But I go to Harold, I go, is it getting too big? And he kind of chuckles and go, no. And I go, no, really, it's too big. No, it's not. No, keep going. Well, like, fucking what, really? And I go bigger and queenier. He'd go, yeah, it's funny. Well, fuck. Well, then what was, oh, man. And I
Yeah.
trusted him, and and I saw the thing, and I went, ugh. But he knew what he was doing.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wanted this thing for this picture in that way, and he was exactly kind of right.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
There was no, the way he's spoken about by every single person who's ever worked with him, he was a
jeez.
Jedi master
Oof.
from the get.
So fun.
You did a couple movies with him, no? Wasn't there another one that I saw on here?
No, we just did that. Bedazzled.
Oh, well, you would know.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I don't think I did another one with him.
I'm guessing you would know.
No.
Let's talk about your love of Frank Sinatra and your own original character that grew from your love of Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
So when does that begin?
That begins in a little town called Vidor, Texas,
Hello.
which is the home of one of the best oxymorons I've ever heard, which is spoken by a little guy named Virgil on the break room of the Florida Natural Gas Compression Station number 6 of the Florida Natural Gas Pipeline that goes from South Texas all the way into Florida. Virgil had a big buck knife on the side of his hip, about 8 inches long. He said, we got 2 chapters of the KKK and 1 radical chapter. Did a radical chapter of the KKK in Vidor, Texas. Come on. But I was down there working at a natural gas compression station, and it was the same summer that Pope of Greenwich Village came out. So I drive myself down to the Kmart, and I see in the used cassette, there were these things called cassettes that you used to put music on that we used to listen to.
I believe Maxwell was one of the fine producers.
Oh, yes, yes, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the fellows over at TDK did a nice job.
They did
nice
a lovely,
job.
lovely piece of work.
They didn't make the cassettes, they made the cassettes sound better, whatever the fuck they did. And they also had a lovely cameo in, what's the fucking science fiction movie? Forget it.
That narrows it down, by the way.
But I went and I got Frank Sinatra's Greatest Hits, Volume 2, because the Summer Wind, the song The Summer Wind was in that in the Pope of Greenwich Village. And I'd kind of heard of Sinatra a little bit. My father was a tenor that sang in barbershop quartets and stuff in central Iowa. Yeah, sure. Sometimes eastern Iowa. He'd branch out.
It was called The Road.
Yes, exactly. He'd go to Cedar Falls. They'd sing there. It was very nice. And he'd sing at church. And so I heard him singing. I knew what singing was, but I didn't really sing myself very much. And then I loved this song, The Summer Wind, and it was a really wonderful part of that movie before Mickey Rourke went crazy, and it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I started listening to Sinatra that summer, and then I went to New York after that. At the end of that summer, to stay with my buddy on 86th Street.
What year are we talking?
We're talking about 84, maybe, summer of 84. So I go to New York, and my buddy Tim Gordon's mother's there in New York, and she saw Frank at the Copacabana, saw him a few times with her husband, and said, you know who you look like? And I went, what? She went, you look like a young Frank Sinatra. I had little curly hair back then and stuff. I went, really? I'd never thought about it before. And then I started singing, and then I remember going to some parties in New York with pals of mine and goofing off and singing like, just stupid, like the Yellow Submarine or something, as Sinatra. And
As Sinatra.
Yeah. Just stupid.
The juxtaposed.
And singing stupid. And then people laughing. Well, that's so cheesy. How is that getting a laugh? That's so easy, doing a dumb Frank. But I went, well, this is kind of fun, maybe.
Yeah.
And then started doing it. And then did it a little bit in New York.
Well, now you would do it for paid customers at some point.
Yeah, in New York I did this thing. I did it a few times and then really started doing it in Los Angeles. So I did these MTV promos in the mid-90s and did a character on there that I did like this Onyx song and I did a Snoop Dogg song, just 30-second clips of it, and this Jeremy spoken by the Seattle group people.
Uh-huh.
The famous Seattle group, like the science fiction movie, these were the Seattle group people that had the song
You
about
mean
Jeremy.
the grunge?
The grunges from Seattle that had the Jeremy Spoken movie song.
Sure.
So I sang that and did that in the MTV promos.
But now the MTV promos, you kids might remember these.
Maybe. You're the right age.
But you were all dressed up like Frank?
Yeah, I had a suit and.
But I mean, they were going for, this is a Sinatra impersonator of sorts.
Yeah, but I was doing it more
Who's
like
doing hip songs of the day.
Yeah, that was the thing. And there's some guy who's doing it now. He's doing like hip songs of Sinatra, and there's the clown guy doing covers and stuff. But I think that joke is over after 8 seconds, It's you're singing the Lord song. Okay, well, that's done. Now, what's next? Oh, another cover of you, doing that.
But I find this funny as a fun way to do impressions in general. I've been impersonating Johnny Carson for years, but there's nothing that makes me personally laugh harder than to do a random lyric from a song, any song, as Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
For example, if I were to say
right.
the following, please try not to laugh. Mama say, Mama sa, Mama sa.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, it's an easy thing.
It's kind of an easy trick.
Yeah.
It's a parlor trick, really.
Yeah.
And so then you thought, well, I'm going to create an original character who's inspired by Sinatra.
Who thinks he's Sinatra's bastard son.
Okay.
Who believes, and this is before that kid came out on the CNNs. What's his name? Not the blonde kid on the CNNs with his own show.
Uh-huh.
That could be Sinatra's kid. That probably is Sinatra's kid. That looks like Sinatra, Mia Farrow's kid. Isn't that it?
Oh, right.
Yeah, that dude.
Uh-huh.
What's his name? The kid?
That's on a need-to-care basis for us.
All right. But
But he's got his own show.
this was before that.
Yeah.
This is before that. No, and I started singing, you know, kind of parodies of big band stuff. Like I Got You Under My Truck, Got You Under My House. I've got you under my house. I've got you down in that old crawl space so deep in the ground, baby, there ain't gonna be no trace. I got you under my house. And, you know, and then I started doing a show where the guy...
Who's writing these songs?
I'm writing them. And then...
and composing, or you're just, it's all the remix of the original?
It's a remix of the original, but I'm doing the stupid lyrics on top.
Are you writing charts and this is being put to an orchestra?
No, we have a band. We have an 8-piece band that we played with last Friday, and we're going to do Wednesday again.
You're going to do another show Wednesday night? You
doing a show Wednesday night at the Steve Allen Theater in Hollywood.
Ah.
Which is like Hollywood and Vermont.
If people wanted to
blocks
maybe
west.
follow the goings-on of this particular character, they would go to what website?
They would go to nothing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, there's not a web presence for Kazani because
you don't do enough shows.
Fucking not yet. I used to, but I don't want a fucking web presence.
You
know,
don't?
I know. I mean, I might get one at some point, but the whole idea of bowing down to that fucking internet is kind of
Bowing
ridiculous.
down to that fucking internet.
They're not going to find out about you unless you're on the thing. All right.
All right.
I'll be on the thing. I have no problem with the thing.
Right. God forbid you should want people to come and
no, I want
find
people
out
to
where
come.
show.
You can go on the Steve Allen website. They're on the thing.
That seems like the Steve Allen people are bowing down a little.
Well, it's a fucked up little theater because it's called the Center for Inquiry.
Wait for it.
Which you think is a Scientology place, but it's not. It's the Skeptical Inquirer magazine guys who debunk God and Bigfoot and things of this nature.
That's the name of the theater?
That's the name of the building or the organization. I don't still fucking get it, but they have a theater in there called the Steve Allen Theater because Steve Allen was a member of this. Now, on top of that, just to make things muddier than they need to be, for some reason they decided to call it now the Trepany House presents at the Steve Allen Theater in the Center for Inquiry. Just to make sure that no one can ever fucking get there if they try.
I'm pretty sure when Mark Maron started doing live shows again, he was talking about the Trepany House.
Maron would do them there, yes.
The Trepany House.
So Maron does have the Trepany House. So we're there at this place called the Trepany House, which is the Steve Allen Theater, whatever the hell
So
it
you're
is.
there Wednesday night.
Wednesday night. But I should have, I have some in my car, I forgot to bring you one, but I did a Christmas record a few years ago called Snowballs.
Sure you did.
Yeah, there's snowballs like mine, there's snowballs like the ones you're leaving behind. and it's
people get that on the iTunes, do they?
They can get that on the iTunes. You can go to Rudy Kazoni and find on the iTunes and find that on the iTunes. But it's a pretty blue Christmas record.
Pretty blue.
Yeah.
Fairly blue.
Pretty blue.
With
There's
songs
a lot of,
like
you know, it's well, there's a song called Snowball. You're gonna miss my back spackling, crackling hot. You a log. Wax nostalgic for my steamy holiday nog. 'Cause there's snowballs like mine. There's snowballs like the twins you're leaving behind. There's snowballs. Snowballs! Look out, baby! There's snowballs! Snowballs! There's snowballs like these nutty, knocked out, not so cuckoo stones you're leaving behind. It's sort of like that all the way through. Thank you very much.
It sounds like while I'm hosting my weekly poker game Wednesday night, Jamie, you should rush off to the Trepany House.
Yeah.
Do you have any January dates? Because I'd really love to see this show.
I got no
you don't. 'Cause
January
you don't want to
dates.
be bothered. You're going off to work on the show.
I got to go work for 4 months in that goddamn
You're going
Atlanta.
to Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Halt and Catch Fire will do 12 episodes? How many episodes?
I think we're doing 10.
Oh, yeah. Which is what you did the first season? 10?
Oh.
8, 10?
We did.
Maybe you did
10
12.
the first, well, look, now, we did 10 the first season.
Yeah.
And if you've seen the first season, I go to jail after episode 8.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
not in 9 and 10. So
No.
we're not totally sure
How
at
it is
this point
how it is you're going back to work?
what's going to happen.
Right.
That's all
You're allowed to say.
That's all I've been told to say.
I like it,
See?
by the way.
I'm towing the company line.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, boy. Towing that company line.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you something now.
Sure.
You've raised an interesting question for me personally.
Ooh.
In the doing of voices, in the doing of characters.
Yeah.
Since I'm 5, I would come out of the motion pictures, often having been picked up by my mother or brought there also by my mother. And I would be, in a Zelig kind of way, acting as one of the characters in the film. Not as the actor, doing an impersonation of Al Pacino, but doing a character from the film.
Right.
And I'd walk around as that character, and it was unbelievably adorable to my mother for the first couple hours. And then,
after 3 days.
seriously, you got to stop this now, which is what Jamie has inherited these last many years. I will pick up. I mean, Carlin did a thing about if white guys hang around black guys too long, they're just going to start talking like them.
Yeah.
The opposite is not true.
Yeah.
But for some of us who have an ear, as it were, if you get dialed into a certain rhythm,
Yeah, man.
it's kind of tough sometimes to stop.
I did this King of the Hill program.
Yes, you did.
And I did an
Couple voices.
Asian fellow on that named Khan, who was their next door neighbor from Laos.
I don't know why I'm looking at Kenny when you say that.
Yeah. But the way I did it is
That's unracist.
Mike Judge called me up when I was in New York, and he said, we're doing another show, and do you do any Asian voices? Now, I'm not a guy who goes around and does Asian voices, but now and again, if you hear a weird voice in the street, you start doing it. But my buddies who drove out from Iowa, Steve Higgins, who's the announcer on the Fallon
Jimmy
show,
Fallon.
and Dave Higgins are brothers, and they came out to L.A. in a station wagon.
Yeah.
With our
The
buddy.
Higgins boys.
Yeah, the Higgins boys, and Gruber was already out here, and Mark Feit came out with them, another friend of ours from Iowa, who's in the Kazoni show with me. And they stopped at a hotel, they didn't have any money, and there was an Asian guy behind the counter working, and then Mark goes up just alone, and he says, hey, how many people? And the way they tell the story is the Asian guy go, how many people? And Mark goes, just one. Okay, and it was $44 or something like that, or $29, whatever it was. So then Mark goes into the hotel room and he sneaks Dave and Steve in there and they sleep. So Mark wakes, or I think Steve wakes up in the morning, Mark wakes up in the morning, yeah. And he goes out and he shuts the door. And his name is Mark Feit. And he starts banging on the door, wakes Steve and Dave up. They're banging on the door. Hey, Mr. Feit, you owe me $44. Mr. Feit, you owe me $44. Now that's the only Asian.
Not racist.
Not a racist thing at all. It's
No.
just true to life. So I had never, so when Mike said, do you do any Asian voices? I went, oh, well, I don't, no, well, you know, it's funny. Some friends of mine came out from Iowa and I told that story. And I guess I was on speakerphone in a room and they went, oh, sure, yeah, he can do the thing. So that's how I got the King of the Hill. But I knew Mike from New York. I did Beavis and Butthead voices on that too. But then years later, after we've been doing King of the Hill for maybe 8 years or something like that, I was on the Los Feliz 3 Theater, and there was an Asian lady taking tickets, and I was there with a couple buddies of mine, and I didn't think about it, but I walked up and I said, I don't know what we were saying, you know, here's this, and I said, and how much is the change? She says, you get $13. I said, okay, $13, thank you. And I walked away. I said in that accent to an Asian woman, and she sort of looked at me, and I walked away, not thought about it. A couple buddies of mine were there, and they went, what the fuck are you doing? And I went, oh, did I just do, oh, Jesus, that's awful. It was crazy.
Truly awful.
Yeah, no, it's really awful. And you're stuck doing that
I
little
do
voice.
it all the time.
And then you lose all parameters of decency, apparently. It's awful.
Yeah, your brain doesn't even stop to wonder, will this be okay?
Yeah.
It's just a sound I like to make.
Yeah, Billy West, you know, we would, when...
Former guest?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He's a lovely
Had
man.
him and John DiMaggio on together.
Oh, Jesus, what a loud time that must have been. That voice in DiMaggio is the size of this table. It's a huge, God, that guy's got a giant voice, DiMaggio, and Billy's nuts.
Yeah.
But Billy was doing some Sinatra stuff too, but he would do the Sinatra of the old guy who was sort of losing his brain a little bit.
Well,
and Billy would do.
They do age, you know, and lately I've been having a lot of fun realizing that at some point Al Pacino became an old black blues player. I don't know when that was, really, but it happened, and I'm loving it. I get in that pair of shoes, and I don't want to go anywhere. I'm walking them down the aisle at the grocery store looking for McCormick marinade.
Yeah, exactly.
It's on the shelf somewhere. And people are walking behind me. What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah.
But I'm just in my own world.
Yeah.
And I'm happier there.
It's fun, you know. It's this sort of that voice can have a little bit of a taste, you know, in your mouth sometimes. You sort of like doing that. Like when I get doing a Bing kind of, oh, it's nice to walk down the street. Oh, there's a postman over there delivering the mail. What the fuck you? Oh, I'm just walking around, walking down Los Feliz Boulevard. Ooh, I like that. I like the Skylight Books. Hello, Skylight Books. You're talking to a fucking bookstore, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like that Skylight Books.
These aren't thoughts.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's all coming out. Yeah. It's fucking really retarded.
Yeah. I mean,
So
everyone talks to themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And it may be one of those things like masturbation that most people just don't bother telling each other about.
Yeah.
But the truth is, everyone kind of talks to themselves a little bit at some point, either in the car or whatever it is. And then some of us do it a little more than others.
Yeah.
And some of us do it in voices.
Yeah, no, I do it I'll do it. I found myself doing it more often in the cereal aisle of a grocery store.
This is what I'm saying about looking for fucking McCormick's marinade.
It's crazy. I will go in there and go, what is it? 8 grams of sugar. That's a lot of sugar. You grape nuts. What the fuck?
Can't get enough of my sugar, bag.
And then I'll stop and go, oh, fuck, I'm talking to my time doing Bing Crosby in the cereal aisle. This is crazy shit. And my daughter's with me, and she's looking at me like, which is this really honestly embarrassing. And I go, this can't be embarrassing. No, it's fucking honestly embarrassing.
Yeah. There's a new record I'm keeping, like contest record, which is how long it takes Jamie before I start to yell, stop doing the voice. It's down to about 4 seconds. It started at about 30 seconds, by the way.
It's terrible.
She would let me go, oh, God, here we go with this. And now it's knee-jerk.
Because we forget that it's like...
Fun for only us?
Well, not only fun for only us, but it's like somebody walking around with an air horn going, bam, bam. You go, Jesus fucking Christ. You can't keep blowing the air horn. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it. Bam, bam. You did it again. You got to fucking stop with the air horn.
I never thought of it.
It's
That's
an
what
air
it sounds
horn,
like to Jamie is an air horn.
Indeed, yeah. Because she's not just hearing it going, she's going, oh, fucking scared. Oh, what the, oh, fucking scared me.
It's not just you either. It's like any of my friends that do voices, like Corey or Cole, like they drive me crazy with their...
But is there a reason specifically, or you just...
It's just because you're talking to me in a bizarre... I'm like, talk to me in
As a person, as your own person.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that's annoying? Well, yeah, it's a fucking annoying, but why? You can't explain why.
But yes, but is the air horn having fun?
Because
I'm having fun.
The air horn is like, it's like the scorpion and the frog. The air horn is just doing what it's supposed to do. You know? Just like you. You're only doing what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
And that's, so if you choose, see, sadly, here's the problem. You choose to live with an air horn, guess what? That fucking thing's gonna go bam, bam. What can you do?
Well, but she's trained me pretty well to fucking knock it off.
Yeah.
I'll catch myself.
Yeah.
Half the time before the 4 seconds.
I won't answer you sometimes.
Yeah.
If you ask me a question in a voice, I pretend I don't hear you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I do it when she's not around now.
Somebody told a
I
lovely
used to lock
story.
the doors and everything to masturbate, and now I do that just so I can do voices.
Voices. Oh, where are you going with the Kleenex? Oh, I'm doing some voices. Forget it.
It's something I need to do for me, honey.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I don't love you.
That's right.
Yeah. Somebody told me a lovely story that Pacino, they said they did a funny Pacino where he was playing softball with them years ago, and he wanted to play shortstop, and they go, fuck, he wasn't that good. They go, we don't have to play fucking shortstop. And they go, all right, just let Al Pacino play shortstop. Who cares?
Who gives a shit?
So they hit a ball, it's a really hard ball, goes right through his legs. I mean, it didn't take a bad hop. It wasn't, it went right through his legs. And Pacino stands up and he goes, oh, bad hop. That was a bad hop. And they went, oh.
Oh, no.
That's the only Pacino impersonation.
Bad hop. That ball went through my legs. I want to tell you something. I saw it as it was happening. We invite our audience to speak with us.
Oh.
Through the interwebs.
Ooh, that's
through the
nice.
magical world.
Oh, no, I
place
like that.
that you hate.
No, I like it. I just haven't gotten around to making a Kazoni website. We have many lovely photographs and even some video pieces.
Mike O.
Uh-oh.
From the interwebs.
Bit of a prick.
A little bit. Is asking, can you ask if Rudy Casoni, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Kazoni. It's a town in Italy where my grandfather's from, actually.
Casoni.
Yeah, it's by Passano del Grappa.
Passano del Grappa.
Passano del Grappa in Veneto.
Ah.
Sì.
Cassoni is ever going to make a album. Your album may be a favorite dysfunctional Christmas music ever. Is there a comeback in the works?
I guess his whole career's a comeback. But yeah, we're going to make another record, hopefully this summer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Will it be themed? Will it, we don't know?
I think it's going to be songs about love, but horrible, gripping, awful love.
Right.
I think, yeah.
And so you'll take existing
I think
compositions.
it could be new songs. There's one song that features a French horn that is very magical.
Really?
Yeah. But it's all, he even talks in the middle of the song, what is that sound? That is the French horn, one of the loneliest types of horns. Bum, 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 there it goes again. Who keeps playing the fucking French horn in the middle of the song? It's that sort of thing. What is that love? That is the French horn. Stop playing the fucking French horn. Play a fucking trumpet, cocksucker. I say cocksucker a lot in the show.
Yeah, but
it's fun.
But not you, it's Rudy.
Oh, yes, it's totally Rudy, yeah.
Yeah.
We do a lot of awful things.
And when people come to a show,
Yeah.
like they might on Wednesday, or after you're back from Hotlanta, what is the 8-piece band you said?
8-piece band, lovely band, and then we have Dave Higgins came out. He was Santa. Paul Greenberg was Little Elf, and Karen Kilgariff was going to do it. There's some sketches in it. Jesus came out, but
Sure.
the wrong Jesus, a buddy of mine, is crucified Christ rather than the baby in the manger. Cocksucker.
Crucified Christ showed up at Christmas.
Crucified Christ showed up at Christmas, not the right Christ.
Was he bitter?
No, Cazzoni made Cazzoni angry because he had a year to work on a bit, and he comes up with Crucified Christ. You dumb cocksucker! What are you doing out here? Just wish me happy birthday. No. And then it quickly got into talk about Cosby and how you could, the gift that your father gave us in 1937, whenever it was, this wonderful comedian. He gave us the gift of mirth. Joyous fun with Cosby, but also the gift of apparently drug and rape. That's not.
Alleged.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
So I make Jesus explain that, and he doesn't do a good job of it.
No.
So there's that sort of Christmas mirth in the show.
So you were questioning his father's work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he dares to come out as the crucified Christ rather than baby Jesus, then I'm a little angry, and I make him. Because he did have a year to work on the bits, and he sort of blew it off.
Yeah.
For a year.
Yeah. Well, as a member of the Hebrew tribe by birth, not so much with the practicing. My feeling on the finger pointing towards the Hebrews, in terms of the crucifixion, I believe that every Bible says it was part of God's plan. That the whole thing, I've sent my son to ultimately be, to sacrifice to die for your sin.
Yeah.
That was all part of the plan.
King of the
So,
Jews.
in fact, were the Jews not doing God's work?
Oh, yeah.
By telling the Italian sheriffs to kill this fellow.
The Dago sheriffs. Sure.
The Romans.
Yeah.
We love to point the finger at the Romans, but I'm saying there's a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
We were working under plan,
What can be done? Nothing. Fait accompli.
Oh, but I would like to know who called the shots.
Big
That's
boy.
all I'm saying.
Big boy.
If you're gonna,
He probably sounds like Fat Albert.
let's hope.
Get rid of the Jews.
Somebody killed my boy.
Who killed my boy? I'm sending another motherfucker to come rap and rock a few of you.
Wow.
See how that's
had
a full
not
circle?
thought.
See? That's where it came from. This is the beauty of Christmas time.
Never mind what's in that drink.
Just drink it, motherfucker. Do you aspire to a sea-level modeling career? What are your plans?
Yeah. What were you thinking when you put on panties?
It's not funny.
No.
No.
There's nothing funny about
Knock it
rape.
off.
Yep.
And we have a guy come in from Ferguson, Missouri, a singer, Brad Logan. Yeah.
And
hopefully he's gonna come in with Karen Kilgariff, a lovely comedian. If you haven't had her on, she's a lovely writer, comedian lady.
Tell me more about her.
Karen Kilgariff is lovely. She was I think she was the head writer of the Ellen Show for a while, but
Right.
did her and Mary Lynn Rice Cub did Girls Guitar Club years and years ago, and they were before the Garfunkel Notes. There was the Girls Guitar Club.
Right.
Very lovely.
Yeah.
Those two are very silly girls.
Right.
But Karen is a really smart, funny. Her Twitter feed is, as is Blanket Patches. Both those two are wonderful little Twitter feeds. They're very funny people. But she's going to come on and sing some Christmas things, I think, a little bit more of a country western vibe, and I'm going to come on as her man, Brad Logan, and talk about, sing that We Three Kings, set the stage for the manger. And there they are. Gaspar, Melchior, and Balthazar. Black as the ace of spades. A demon, if you will, who's just stolen some frankincense. Now, with the baby Jesus sitting calmly in the car.
Car.
Yeah. Balthazar strikes him. He struck him.
Ah.
So it's a little play on the racial politics of America.
Yeah, he did.
It's a really smart show.
Fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
Mostly the ones who went to college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple college kids. And some stripper girls that like to get naked.
Wait for it.
One of the girls made, for her little...
Pasty?
Her little pasty, she had a little Santa, made 2 Santa hats.
Really?
Very nice.
There are strippers in the show?
Sure, why not?
Like a burlesque?
Burlesque thing. They don't get completely nude, but they get nude enough. Sometimes...
For the purpose of laughs?
Oh, for the purpose of sexiness. Yeah, not laughs.
The way that Dean Martin had the Gold Diggers.
Sure. These girls get nude. Not all the way nude, But that's the show. It's a pretty chaotic couple of hours.
Do they keep whatever they earn afterwards?
Yeah, well, they don't get money thrown at them by the audience. I throw them a couple dollars here and there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the band is fantastic. There's some really good guys in the band, and it's a fun night.
Yeah, no, it truly must be a fun night. And how long have you been doing this character?
I've been doing that character for, the MTV promos were the mid-'90s, but I really didn't start doing that kind of character
That's
until
almost
about
20 years now.
I know, right?
Yes.
Till like 2005, 7, I started doing that character, and we were doing shows down there. So we do non-Christmas shows a lot down at the Steve Allen Theater, and built a good following of folks.
Nice.
And yeah.
Very cool.
That's fun.
All right, just checking to make sure that the audience at home is a chance to weigh in. What can you tell me about the Basketball Diaries?
Oh, that was a little young Leonardo DiCaprio. One
Little
of
Leo.
his first things. Him and a young Marky Mark, if we remember.
Boy.
I played his older brother and broke his arm in that one.
Yeah. Of the Marky Mark?
Yeah, but I was doing this other thing on MTV, this other character, and I did a spoken word unplugged, and it was the same week that Cobain killed himself. And it was right after we shot the Basketball Diaries, and I met Jim Carroll, who's a really sweet and wonderful, sort of beautifully broken kind of man, and he wrote this wonderful poem about Kurt Cobain that he did on the Spoken Word Unplugged that I did, and he was there that day. I think we taped 2 of them, and it was really beautiful, and he said, it's so sad, he just died recently, Jim Carroll, maybe a couple years ago or something like that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And that was a really fun little picture. We just shot, I think, one day. I just shot one day on that and broke Mark Wahlberg's arm and then moved it along. But it was really sweet. But it was funny, those guys at that time, he was everywhere with those Calvin Klein ads.
Yes.
And Leo was just starting to come up. So they had this crazy sort of wonderful energy. And then again, I was like the old guy on the set there when I was 28 or 30.
Right.
These guys were just young dudes, and it was really funny to sort of see them in that little incubating period where they could have gone a bunch of different ways.
Not knowing that they would both be...
Yeah, I think he just did Gilbert Grape, or maybe that hadn't come out yet while we were shooting it. I think he might have just done it, I think.
Right.
It just came out. And then Wahlberg hadn't done much of anything by then.
No, he was just a punk.
As a music guy, and then.
He was a bit of a thug.
Was he?
A little bit of a thug.
Yeah, I think so. Isn't he trying to get something over?
He's trying to get expunged.
Expunged.
Yeah.
Expunged.
Wouldn't we all like to be a little expunged?
Oh.
At some point?
I only have to. I think I got my thing expunged already. If I didn't do any more crime, I think it's gone.
Right. I was going to ask about that.
It's accidental crime.
What are you able to talk about?
I'm talking about phone jacking. Maybe you fucking heard of phone jacking, man.
No, keep talking.
Yeah, here's what fucking happened, dude. I lived in the Lower East Side for years in New York, and I think it was 89.
Sure.
And it was the day after it rained, and it was 1 in the afternoon. For some reason, I thought, well, what was it, September? Let me put on a white T-shirt and a paisley vest. Oh, let's do that. Paisley vest with gold buttons. Walk down the street, call my buddy Andrew, and go play some billiards. Well, I go to one phone on First and try. I was living in Stanton in Essex at the time, which is below house. Then to First and try to phone
First
there.
and First.
First and First.
Jamie, he went to the corner of First and First.
First and First. The boy was at the corner of First and First. Below Cafe Pig, where Cafe Pig
That's
used to
where
be.
Ray's Pizza's located. The corner of First and First. How did you?
Ray's Pizza's there?
No, it's it's Seinfeld.
Oh, Jesus. So I went to First and tried the phone there, and somebody jimmied the door up of the phone, and my quarter went all the way through, and that didn't get a dial tone. I went, what the fuck? And I hung up, and the ground was still wet from the rain that morning or something. And then I go to First and Second. There was a phone there, First Avenue, Second Street. Tried a phone there, and the same thing happens. I go to like 3rd or 4th Street and First Avenue, and somebody jimmied the door up on these things called payphones they used to have.
Payphones, you say.
And you could feel the money. You go, oh, I felt there's like $3 in there. Oh, look, and they stuck a toothpick in to hold that door up. So I pulled the toothpick out, and the door opened up, and the change came out. I'm like, well, that's like $3 in change. Put it in my pocket. Oh, what's that, a slug with the name Ray written on it? Whatever, put it in my pocket. And called my buddy Andrew, and it rang a couple times, and I heard behind me, hang up the phone. I went, what? I kind of turned around, and there were 2 cops. And there was this little short lesbian cop leaning toward me going, hang up the motherfucking phone! And I went, huh? What? I hung up the phone. And that led to 23 hours in the criminal justice system in New York.
Because you had the coin that said Ray.
I had the coin that said Ray, and then at one point, while my hands are cuffed behind me, and they pull the money out of my pocket and put it there, and then the dude, the deputized AAT&T flunky, reaches down and finds a little sort of S-shaped piece of wire on the ground, about a ½ inch long, and he goes, see this? And that, my friend, made it from a Class A misdemeanor to a Class C felony. Possession of burglar's tools.
You were a professional at that point.
That little thing, possession of burglar's tools, so then they put that in the thing.
So because the actual thieves
Yeah.
were a little sloppy
Yeah.
and left behind one of their tools,
So yeah, or that wasn't even a tool, it was a fucking bent piece of wire the guy found on the
that they were
ground.
able to build a case.
Yeah, so they said that they'd been watching me since First and First, and they thought I was the guy who was going around the neighborhood, whatever junkie was going around the neighborhood, fixing all the phones so he could collect his $12 at the end of the day, and hadn't come for a couple days because it had been raining for 2 days.
Ah.
So then it
I
rained.
knew that there was a reason you entered
Yes.
raining into the story.
So there was a cop, I guess, watching on First and First across the street and go, well, the fucking white boy in the paisley vest, that's gotta be him.
That's our man.
That's our man.
That's the drug addict.
So they followed me there to First, and I probably looked pretty bad at the time, and they got me to Second and Third, and they followed me around. They go, well, he's obviously checking all the phones. And then they finally swooped down, and they went, and then the whole thing, guy smoking crack in the jail cell, Chinese guy, had a white pants on with a waistband, I was smoking cigarettes in the cell, too. Cops were coming over and lighting them, and this guy put his crack in the end of his cigarette, and the cop came by and lit it, and he's getting high in the cell on the Lower East Side, the one that's on 5th or something like that,
Yeah.
between First and Second, I think, or Second and Third. Yeah, crazy, and then into the Tombs, the TB capital of North America, into the Tombs and processed through there, and the next morning waking up and, after my bologna sandwich, and it's a whole wonderful story.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But you're pretty sure it was expunged, are you?
I think it
You
was
had to get an
expunged.
attorney. You had to fight the thing.
No, you don't fight it. Cops lie.
So
That's what I heard.
you
That's
said
what my
there-
attorney said. Look, I said, I didn't do anything. This was not something hey, buddy.
Nobody cares?
Look, I said, I got to go to the police. I got to say, we got to get to court. And he go, the cops are going to lie. They're going to say you're the guy. What they're supposed to. Just plead guilty. We'll take it down to a misdemeanor, and in 6 months it'll be expunged off your record, and you'll leave today.
Right.
I need justice done. I need. Okay, I'll leave. And then I guilty. Yeah, I walked out.
Yeah.
But it could have gone horribly wrong. I mean, if something would have gotten fucked up, then what? A week in Rikers or something?
Yeah.
That's a scenario I played out more than
Suddenly
once.
Rudy's singing a different tale.
No, sir,
Oh,
scene,
boy.
different tone, soprano. Hey, yeah, there'd be a new level to the old blues numbers.
Ah, yeah. How they used to say, you drop your keys on Lombard and kick them all the way to Casper.
Kick them. You gotta kick your wad of keys. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. No bending over. Never mind the soap.
Petros.
How about working with on the Jerry Maguire? We mentioned the Tommy Cruise earlier. You had a little time with the Cameron Crowe there.
Yeah, he's wonderful. I turned him down flat. I didn't need this small role in the movie. I guess he called my agent. They said, "Can you come in and audition to just a little role in Jerry Maguire?" And I just was starting out. I was pretty cocky.
Uh-oh.
Come off this big MTV promo kept pin.
Come on, man, I don't know if you've seen the
Hey,
Sinatra work I'm doing.
yeah, I don't know if you're one of the 800 people who've seen that, but that's good shit.
Yeah.
And they said, go into the, I said, what is it for 2 lines? At the beginning of this movie, it's got Cameron Crowe's doing it great. I went, no, I'm going to pass. I'm not going to go on that. He gets my number and calls me at home.
Cameron Crowe.
Cameron Crowe. Hey, Toby, it's Cameron Crowe. Oh.
He's
hi.
a big music guy, by the way.
Yeah, huge guy, huge music guy. And hi, hey, look, I understand it's a small role, but I'd really love you to do it. I went, okay, I'll do it.
He
Yeah,
had seen
sure.
the MTV Sinatra
I
stuff.
believe so. He'd seen some stuff, and he said, I want you to do it. And it was so generous and sweet of him. And then I went into the movie. It was great.
So
It's
you
a
say,
nice
I
thing.
see, I'm the asshole. Well,
Oh, yeah.
When do you need me?
Yeah.
When
No,
the,
I say
when the
that a
director
lot.
calls you at home.
Oh, dude, what a dumb move that was for me to go, no, you know what? I think I'm a little, oh, really, asshole? Director just called you. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And then that was what so we were doing it, and Tom Cruise was, and I didn't know, I knew who Tom Cruise was, but I wasn't a particularly huge fan of Tom Cruise. If you see him, you go, I like that dude. He's a good actor guy, whatever his thing is. But I see him, I heard he was a little bit short. Didn't know, whatever.
Well, he wasn't 6'2".
Not 6'2".
That's what the people would
He's like
expect.
5'7" or 5'8" or something like
Yeah,
that.
he's probably closer to 5'9", but because I'm crazy height aware,
Oh, yeah.
being a shorter fella.
So he's walking through the parking lot. We're sort of waiting for him to get through. And there were some windows in this hospital sort of thing we were shooting. And I looked over, I see him walking through the parking lot, and I see him smile at a guy like, hey, Terry. He puts his hand out to shake the guy's hand. And I had a little bit of a crush on him. He's got a good face. That
Yeah.
smile's really nice. I think if I smile, he looks a little, if I smile, hey.
It goes right to creepy.
It's creepy.
Right,
It's
it's creepy,
creepy.
yeah.
His face can go full smile, hey.
Yeah.
Which is maybe that's the reason why Nicholson is able to get that by doing huge shit, because he might look crazy, but he doesn't look unusual if he goes really big in a thing.
Yeah,
We kind of expect that.
Right.
But if I go too big or you too big, we'll look like saps.
that's right. Well, the difference I found with Tom Smile instantly also was that it was genuine. He wasn't running for office.
It seems to be. He seems to be like
Yeah,
a
no.
genuine human dude.
I mean, people put that on him that they don't think it's genuine
Yeah.
because it's more fun to make fun of somebody that genuinely happy.
Yeah.
It's much hipper and cooler and fun
Yeah, exactly.
to give him shit for it.
I'm going to give him some of my old school snark. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck you. And your
Isn't
thing.
I
yeah.
never like it when people always tell you to smile more, because I'm like, if I just walked around smiling all the time, I would look more psychotic than if I just walked around normal.
That's exactly right.
And people are always like, smile more. And I'm like, you want me to just walk around smiling like this? Like, oh, that happy cat? Like,
Yeah,
what, doesn't
but
make
also
any
at the
sense.
base of it, aren't they saying, don't be yourself?
Yeah,
Yeah, don't
What?
be yourself. Why aren't you smiling?
Yeah.
It would be better for me if you were smiling.
Yeah.
And let's make this more about me.
And if you smile, if you're going to walk around smiling, you got to come up with that walk was kind of
exactly.
nice. You do a thing.
Yeah.
Then you get the whole package.
And if the
She's
whiz,
crazy. Yeah, do the whiz
and
walk.
if the whiz is telling you got
I
some
was
good
being
money,
Yeah, exactly.
take it from
Listen
the
to that
original.
asshole.
Yeah. Take it from a guy who gets jobs, according to Jake Johansson, by doing stupid fucking dances.
Oh, Jake.
Yeah.
Oh.
Jake's in the documentary. He's wonderful in the
Oh,
documentary.
he's great, man.
Yeah.
Is Bobcat in it?
Bobcat was supposed to be in it, but the problem was there were 3 opportunities to take footage from the chat show and put it in the documentary. 'Cause
Right.
everywhere else was shot on various locations
Right.
in interview form. But I had 2 release forms signed right as we were gearing up to shoot, which was luckily and thankfully Tom Hanks and Larry David, and then the 3rd was Bobcat. And the Larry David and Tom Hanks were so key and crucial. By the way,
Yeah.
I realize as I'm saying it, I'm sort of auditioning this exposition for when I talk to Bobcat, who just sent me a congratulations email.
Because he's getting
As
he's
to
got
why
his
he's
doc
not in
into
it,
Sundance.
but
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, because the background at the old location of the chat show was just black and it was poorly lit,
Right.
not poorly lit, but in comparison to the cinematography that goes into the film,
Right.
which was all about composition,
Right.
whereas this show is more about, I got great technicians who can make this look as good as possible,
Right.
but it's still going to pale in comparison, especially at our other location.
Sure.
So when I looked at the Tom Hanks and the Larry David with that background and I put it into the film, there's only so many seconds of footage I could actually use.
Yeah.
And so Bobcat kind of got screwed because he was the 3rd pony
Yeah.
in that race. And we had to put that horse down.
Well, you know, if you got to put one of those 3 horses down.
I think Bobcat would be
Yeah.
the first
He'd be
to
the-
suggest
Yeah, exactly.
that he go out on the petard.
Yeah, better make glue out of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was here. He did a wonderful job. I love him to death.
Yeah.
We both sort of came up through the San Francisco stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did that doc about Crimmins that's going to be at Sundance, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I assumed he must have got something in there, and he talked about doing his own small films, which Joel
Which I've been
Murray-
in a couple of those.
Joel
too.
Murray.
Joel's been was World's Greatest Dad.
Yeah.
Oh, not World's Greatest
no,
Dad.
the other one.
God Bless America. And I was in that one, too. He shoots me in the head in the theater.
I was
Joel
going to
does.
say, don't you get shot by Joel in that movie?
Yeah. Joel's great.
Yeah. Bobcat is fantastic.
Sure.
I'd like to know a little bit about him as a director. I've talked to him as a director, but being directed by him was something I asked Joel to speak about. So if you've got anything to share as well.
It was he didn't do anything. Yeah, whatever.
Let the artist
Okay.
do.
Yeah, he just lets you go. I think if you get too off point, he'll reel you back in.
Right.
But he wants to see what you brought to it.
Yeah, he's
just
about
letting
tone.
you do it. And yeah, he's about tone. He's also about I think with him it's just story first. The story is trumping everything. So if some guy's a little bit wonky, a little bit what, if he's getting the thing across that I need, great. Because his stories and the ideas behind the stories are what he's telling, and I think, you know, that's the biggest thing with him is telling that fucking story. And if he needs to hire the world's best DP to do it, then he will try to get the guy. If that's not a concern with him, then he's not going to get that guy.
Right.
I think the story's going to trump everything.
Right.
And that's sort of nice to see.
And what about you with the writing and directing, the aspirations?
Oh, the writing and directing aspirations.
Too lazy?
No, I don't have a huge compulsion. I've written a bunch of stuff, but I have no compulsion to direct a lot of stuff. I have little things here and there I've done, you know, but nothing really, you know.
You like to write?
Yeah. That's fun stuff.
What is your practice? Are you a throw up the first draft just to have the skeleton that I can tear apart later? It's all about the rewriting? Or are you painstaking with your first draft?
No, I think first draft is all about character stuff with me. I just start writing about characters and doing things with characters and then letting them go. And there's a thing I'm working on with Kazoni, a half an hour idea for Kazoni, and it's just been sitting at my studio and just typing on a typewriter. I just have to put, and then it's all about, you know, just putting in some time. It's all about saying, okay, well, I'll put in, I got an hour today, so just type for an hour.
Right.
And it can be stupid shit and type the same word over and over for a while,
Right.
but then little things will come up, and I think just to generate that idea, it can come from anywhere, but I don't want it to be this precious.
What kind of typewriter? IBM Select?
No, manual, old manual, dude. I got a
Old
bunch
manual.
of those. Yeah. There's a super silent, a Smith Corona super silent I have, and then there's an old Silent Royal. It's really nice too. A real bang 'em
my
up
old
machine.
one is a Royal. The
Yeah.
old typewriter I have from the 20s. I like to, it's interesting you said you like to type on a typewriter. I like my first draft, I usually just sit down at a table and just do this.
It feels good to do.
I
that.
don't even, I'm just thinking about the story.
You know, we don't hear the sound of a typewriter anymore. It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Because you could walk, and somebody next door to me was playing a piano. I'm subletting a place right now. And they were playing a couple doors down, playing piano, scales, but really nicely done. And I thought, well, that's a sound you just don't hear anymore. People
Right.
practicing scales, that was probably a semi-common sound to hear in the 30s, along with typewriters and things.
Typewriters for sure
Yeah,
was a sound.
typewriters are a good sound.
Yeah. Tom Hanks is a little nutty with the old typewriter.
That's right. Yeah, right. He got like an app or something like that.
There
he
is
did?
some kind of app for the phone, or is it for something else that when you text or something, it makes the sound?
Oh, it makes the old clacker.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't realize he was getting into the novelty business.
Yeah, he's got a great fart machine too that he makes. The Tom Hanks squeezer,
Yeah.
they call it.
The Tom Hanks squeezer.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
He said,
that's
you know
nice.
what? He's going to steal that shit.
Well, there's nothing he
get on
can't
this.
do and do
I know.
incredibly well. Speaking of which, I want to congratulate his oldest, Colin Hanks, former guest of the show as well, on his Golden Globe nomination for Fargo. He picked himself up the Golden Globe nom.
he's a
pretty
sweet
fucking
fellow, that
fantastic.
guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I mean, it's shocking that a Mussolini-type character like his father would produce such a lovely child.
Yeah.
that it didn't turn out full of hate and rage.
An Il Duce type. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Carnival, fun?
Yeah. Fun show. I think if that show would be happening now, it'd be a huge hit with all your internets going on now. I think. Show before its time, that Carnival.
Yeah.
Great little show.
Also a thing, I think, the little dropping of the ball with the marketing.
Yeah, man. You know, they had Carnival and they had Deadwood on at the same time, and Milch was running Deadwood, and I think they were a little bit enamored with the David Milch mystique, and they thought, and I think nobody at HBO loved Carnival enough. I think they liked it, but I think they loved Deadwood, and they were both really pricey period pieces. So they went, fuck, we have to cut one of these guys. So they.
It's tough. It's very difficult for a network to get anything done when you're using Milch's cock as a salt lick.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. They were kissing just a little bit too much ass.
Yeah, they let him have
David
what he
Milch.
needed.
And I love Deadwood. I thought I didn't see it when it was
Deadwood
on.
was pretty
I watched
groovy.
the first episode of Deadwood. Yeah. Oh, the cowboys are swearing. They're saying fuck. I don't care.
Yeah, I know.
And they're going out of their way to say fuck in the 1800s. Yeah. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I put that down. I put that pipe down.
Yeah.
And then 17 years later, whatever the fuck it is,
sure.
I'm sick in bed and pop up the iPad. You know what? I'm going to watch Deadwood. Could not stop.
Yeah, right.
Fantastic.
Those were two great little shows. I think the same thing in Deadwood. If that'd be happening now, I think Deadwood would have a 5-year run or whatever it is, a big run. You know, it'd be much more like something on the, you know, maybe not the grandeur of Game of Thrones, but I think it'd have that sort of, you know, buzz about it.
Right. Well, the Game of Thrones, I think, the crazy marketing ease is from the success of the books.
Yeah, man, that's a huge deal, you know. And like with our little show.
Also, $18 million an episode is what HBO is spending on Game of Thrones.
Is it really?
18 million.
Holy
Good luck finding
shit.
that much money to make a movie.
Wow.
They're spending 18 million on every hour.
Wow, yeah. Well, no, they're not making $18 million movies. They're making $18,000 movies.
They are.
Or $180 million movies,
Yeah.
but nothing in between.
I love working on the $18,000 movie.
I just worked on a Yahoo thing, which is, it was that, you know, God love the people at Yahoo. Well, why would you
Do they know you hate the internet?
Why would you fucking say something like that? God love the people at Yahoo. But it was their first comedy, their first scripted comedy, Yahoo. No, I love the internet. The internet's great. I like it. I use it all the time.
Sure.
But on the Yahoo, they you know, I don't want to cast aspersions, but it wasn't the best craft service I've ever
I was just going to say, how was craft service?
As a matter of fact, it's in the bottom 2%, I'd say, of really, really sad craft service. And while we're doing the show, there's an article in the newspaper, in the New York Times newspaper, about on the sale of this little company, Alibaba, which Yahoo had invested maybe $100 million in a few years ago. They made $43 billion, and they're wondering what to do with that $43 billion. And the answer, of course, would be, well, they're not spending it on craft service for their first show, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I just did a guest spot on the Don Cheadle. Also, congratulations on the Golden Globe nom for House of Lies. And the first compliment I gave them was on their world-class craft service. I said, well, your show is clearly insanely successful.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing the last episode of the 4th season. That's clue number 1 that you're doing well.
Yeah.
But this craft service is insane.
It was like on that Mom show.
On the Mom show.
Holy
Yeah,
Christ.
they've got a guy 24/7 doing the Mom craft
Holy
service.
mackerel.
Yeah.
That's a lot of food on there.
Yeah.
It's
well,
good.
if you dial in, James Spader and William Shatner, the show was called Boston Legal.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Watch James Spader in the first half of the first
Is
season,
he big?
and then watch him in the last
He
half of
goes
the
very-
last season, and you will, I promise, see some weight gain.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a very nice craft service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say he ballooned up like a poison dog. We do a thing on the show. We like to end the
Poison
show with a little thing called the Larry King game.
Right.
I've been told there's a photograph that's going to pop on your screen here shortly that our research staff on Crack found of an early arrest photo of Larry. But for you, the Larry King game, a little improv game.
Sure.
Larry, God bless him, he was on the CNNs for quite some time.
Sure.
Had his own show with his own name in it.
Love him on there.
And our own Jamie created this little game. It's fun to play at parties, actually. I encourage people to play. The holiday season coming up. You're going to go to the holiday parties. I don't know why I'm suddenly doing Tom Snyder. But you're going to want to play the Larry King game because it's fun. You stand around in a circle, whatever. In this case, I will have you look into your camera when you're ready, and I'm going to ask you to do one of three things.
Sure.
In fact, the first is a bad Larry King impression. This removes all the pressure to have to do a good Larry King. Now everyone can play because I want a bad Larry King. I'd prefer it not to sound anything like Larry. And I'm not kidding. Someone came on here and did like Yoda as Larry King, and they win. I want a bad Larry King.
Okay.
Now, if you remember when Larry would go to the phones, we go to Schenectady. Hello.
Houston, hello.
Right. So before he'd go to the phone, sometimes he'd stare down the barrel of the camera. And he felt it was okay to share something about himself that nobody fucking wanted to know. And I mean nobody. They were eventually called King's things. And he wrote a column in USA Today for a while. Like,
really?
Oreos are the best. Oh, shut up. Nobody cares.
Oh.
So I want to play the Larry King game. I want a bad Larry King impression.
Right.
As Larry reveals something about Larry's likes and dislikes or a memory, not yours, Larry's.
Right.
And then go to the phones. And if the name of the city is funny sounding when you go to the phone, that's not going to hurt. So those are the three things. Bad Larry King impression, share something about Larry as Larry, and then go to the phone with a funny name and sound.
That's a
city.
lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff. Take your time. When you're ready, there's your camera.
A lot of stuff.
Stop looking at me. Bad Larry King impression. No pressure.
And we talked to Mr. Pollock here. Mr. Pollock. That's the only one I'm doing. That's it. I'm on the Pollock show. But, however, I lost a foot. I lost a foot to the diabetes at the fair. I lost a foot. When I lost that foot, Galveston. Hello, Galveston.
Galveston.
Galveston's a good town.
Great town and that's a Larry King game brought to you by Toby Huss.
It's a really great impression.
Galveston, of course, the name of a town I only knew because was it Glenn Campbell that made it a famous song?
Galveston.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good tune.
That's a damn fine tune.
Yeah, I might drive through there on the way to Atlantic.
That's not a terrible drive.
No, that's good. I think I'll take that 10. I got an aunt and uncle in Houston I want to see. And I'm going to go by Vidor and see if my old apartment is still there.
Really?
There was a guy named Ronnie. My landlord was named Ronnie Mucklerath.
No, it wasn't.
It's
That's
true.
a made-up name.
And there was a swamp out back. I was on the second floor of this apartment above a garage, and there was a goat next door, and there was a swamp out, and the swamp was brown in the morning and green at night.
Sure
it was cool, and the guy next door had a goat in the backyard. All day. This mother finally go, why the fuck do you have a goat in the backyard? And he went, you haven't seen me mowing that lawn, have you? He got the goat to just eat his backyard so he didn't have to mow that. You ain't seen me mow that lawn, have you? Motherfucking geniuses.
That's fantastic.
So you got to go by Vidor. Yeah.
Just to drop in, see how. What if the goat's like 600 pounds?
Oh, that'd be perfect. I married her. She had that in the backyard, that in the front yard. I married them. That's how they are out there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can't get me enough of that.
Yeah, them boys are out there, boy.
Thank you.
Hey,
honestly and truly, for spending some of your Sunday with us.
Wonderful. This has been great.
Did it seem like a couple hours? Because we just about went a couple hours.
It seemed like about 45 minutes.
All right, good.
Yeah.
This is dropping for most of the folk after the mat on Tuesday. That would be the 16th.
Whoa.
So if you're in the Los Angeles area and you've got time to get tickets to go out to the Steve Allen or the Theater, whatever they're calling it.
The Treppenny House.
The Treppenny House. The name of the show is?
I think I call it this year the Rudy Cazzoni Shitbird Review.
Shitbird Review. Otherwise, go to the Steve Allen Theater website and look at their schedule.
Wednesday the 17th at 8 p.m.
Yeah, check it out, please.
Sure.
Thank you, Toby Huss.
Thanks for having me.
Sit there uncomfortably for the next 47 seconds as I wrap this thing up for the folks at home.
Sure.
All right, great. There's your Toby Huss. That's how easily and quickly that's done. Have yourself just a wonderful holiday. Please be careful when I'm out there driving on the road. Be kind to each other. Remember that the holidays is a chance to remember your family and why you left them.
The Yuletide gay.
To live wherever it is you're living now. I do want
From
to
now
thank
on, our troubles will be miles.
the wonderful staff here. Angie Johnson, who joined us for makeup.
Once again, as
Trying
in
to
olden
shade a
days.
year or two off my life
Happy golden days.
with a wonderful foundation.
Of your...
Tomorrow her challenge is to take 10 pounds off of me.
Yes, she does have that challenge to also make you about a foot taller, I think, Jamie. Thank Jamie Foxx and Dr. Kenneth Chen, Jason McIntyre, and Josh Negrin. And our new favorite intern, Natalie Rosen, by way of Bonnie Hunt. Well, that's who's coming on the show towards the end of January.
Ooh.
I wish I could remember who the TJ Miller's coming up. He might be the January 11th show. Love me the TJ Miller.
Gonna get a little Bonnie Hunt.
Oh, they're gonna get some Bonnie Hunt. Oh yeah. But I had a great friend
Do it.
who said the key to doing Bing Crosby. I got to share this with you, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
You do such a great one. The key to doing Bing Crosby is to use the B sound, as many B sound words. Bo.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I'm dazzled. And he said, I can do Bing Crosby so well, I can put the B sound on any word. And he said, give me a word. I said, whale. And he said, whale.
Was it Kimber?
Mark King. Mark King was his name, the great Mark King. Anyways, have a great holiday, folks. Happy New Year to you. We'll see you next year, as they say. Be annoying. Did I leave anyone out in the thanks? Oh, the West Side Comedy Theater. God bless these fine folks who've given us a new home.
Sure.
The Sean Casey and the gang are our new happy home here, as you see at the West Side Comedy Theater. And we thank them for that. Located in the Santa Monica, just off the 3rd Street Promenade.
Get some more plaster on that sign and Mr. Spot.
Hey, someone finish the sign while we're gone.
Mr. Spot.
See you next year. Until then, and as always, get out of my face.